Welcome to Redeemed Treasures. I am back with another sewing video for you guys. I swear I'm not going to do just sewing, I promise. I have two shirts that I want to do kind of the same thing too. And let me show you real quick. First I have this cotton shirt. It looks like linen, but it's cotton. And it's just too big on me now. I'm not into the big flowy stuff quite as much now, so I need to take it in on the sides, and I also have a pin right here to show me how to take in or where to take in the sleeves, because the sleeves are too big too. I lift my arms up, you can see my bra and stuff, so that is a no-go for me. So I need to take this in on the sides and on the sleeves. This is a similar thing, except I don't think I want to take in on the sleeves. But it's got kind of a 70s vibe to it, and it is a very flowy shirt, as you can tell. But again, this one is just too wide. This one I haven't measured yet, so I need to get in and measure it. So I'll start with the other one because I have already measured that. So I'll start with the striped one, and then we'll move on to this one. So I've laid my shirt out inside out, and you can see the shape on the sides is at an angle. I'm not going to follow that angle because I don't necessarily like the shape of this shirt. So I am going to measure 2.5 inches in from about like the middle part here, not down here where it gets narrower or up here where it gets wider. It's more of a dolman style, and I kind of want to get away from that. So 2.5 inches in on this side, 2.5 inches in on the other side, and then 2.5. I have 2.5 inches up from the sleeve, but I might just go 2. Just because I want to make sure I'm not choking my arms to pieces. So I'm going to measure and pin those measurements, and then I will come over to the sewing machine and do just a straight stitch. I'll try it on, and if it fits the way I want to, then I'll trim it and take it over to the serger. And I have this really cool little pin that will mark on here, and just with a hot iron it will actually fade away completely. And I've tested these on other projects and they do work beautifully. I got them on Amazon. There's the brand. So I am going to measure, mark, pin, and sew. Okay, hopefully you guys can see. Sorry about the shakiness. It's the best I can do with what I've got. Alright. So I ended up not pinning it, but I did mark the shirt with a line. I'll show you here in a minute. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yes, I have my window open, so yes, you will hear cars. So I marked all the way up to my sleeve, but I marked all the way down here, and I did end up going at an angle because the more I looked at it, the more I didn't like just going straight. I didn't think it would work too well. So I'm going to match up my sleeve edges and then start on that line and sew along the line and try to stretch out the fabric a little bit so that it, not stretch it, like pull it tight, but just smooth it out to make sure that you're getting everything in there the way it needs to be and not all bunched together. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so I've tried it on, and I'm liking how this looks right here. I'm probably going to split these bottom ones open like they were originally. But this looks okay. The sleeves are too tight though, so I'm gonna have to pick out this seam up to about right here and then not go quite so far in with the sleeves. The sleeves are just a little too tight, but I am liking how this fits right through here. Much better, because before it was like whoo. But then I'm just going to open up those seams at the bottom so that it doesn't snug quite so tight around the hips. I picked out some of the seam down here so that this would be left open, and then I adjusted where I sewed the sleeve a little shorter because it was too tight, so I loosened it up a little bit. It was a lot of trying on, taking off, trying on, taking off, because I did one side, made sure that was where I wanted it, and then I copied that on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a lot of this excess, and then I'll go in and serge the edges so that it doesn't fray. But I need to cut down here. I can't cut the same amount. I need to bring it out just a little bit because I'm going to have to double roll the material and create a hem similar to this. It's not going to have this rounded piece anymore, which is fine by me. But I just need to cut a little further out so that I have the room to hem that. And now I'm not sure how I'm going to do it to have the serged edge meet the hem. That's going to have to be worked out as I go. So I got the side seams all done. You can see the white more on this one just because it's a dark blue stripe, but the rest of them are either yellow or white. So it's no big deal. So those are all done. So what I have to do next is go to my serger. I need to change out my thread because I currently have dark gray thread, but I did buy some white. So now I'm just going to serge these edges so that they don't fray, which this material doesn't really fray anyway, but I want to finish them off because if I ever get to the point where I'm going to sell this piece, I want it to be nicely finished. So let me change out the thread in my serger, and then once I finish both sides of that with the serger, I'm done, and I'll show you how the shirt looks afterwards. So I've seen online where people say that if you're going to switch out your serger thread, an easy way to do it is to clip your threads that you currently have in there and then put the new thread on and tie it to this and then run it through the machine so you don't have to feed it all the way through the machine again, because sergers are not the easiest things in the world to thread. So I'm going to try that method and see if that'll work. Okay, so now I have the white tied to the gray strings, so hopefully it'll come through and just be white instead of gray. Because threading this thing is not easy. Now I don't need to be doing it this way every single time because then I'll forget how to thread my machine. But for now, this is how it's going to work. I need to find a piece of scrap fabric to run through this. Okay, so I got my white thread in now. I do not suggest doing that shortcut that I just mentioned. Not good. It just snapped right off. Maybe I didn't do it right. I don't know. Maybe it's just because this heavy-duty Singer is super strong. I have no idea. But I have my white thread in there now, and it is working beautifully. So let me finish off the seams on this shirt. I'm going to start at the sleeve, and I hope my hands don't get in the way too much. Slide this in. I don't want to go over my original thread from the actual sewing machine if I can help it. Alright, this thing's a little crazy at first. It goes a little nuts. So I'm lining up my straight stitch with this last notch right here on the left hand side. And I have to try to curve around. Make sure there's no wrinkles underneath from the material. Now, this is going to get a little tricky down here where I sewed these seams. So I'm going to have to hold these kind of in place and make sure I back off on them before I get to them. Make sure I back off on them before I get to them, but still be able to hold everything together. It's really hard because this machine does not like to go slow. I wish I had a little more control over it. Okay. Let's check. I think that'll work. Okay. See how nice that looks? Nice, nice, nice. Alright, so I'll do the other side and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so it is all finished. It fits me so much better. Before it was like out to here and it just looked so terrible. Now the sleeves are comfortable. You don't see things you shouldn't whenever I lift my arms. So now I think I will actually wear this top again. I was going to get rid of it and I need some summer tops that aren't just t-shirts, and so why not just fix the things I have. So this looks so much better. It's a little baggy in the back still. I have a deep curve. Some people call it sway back. Mine's not super bad, but it's bad enough that things back here end up baggy. But I don't know if that bothers me or not. I don't know. I could put a piece of elastic in there. But for now, I think I'm just going to wear it like this and see how I like it. And if I decide to do that later, I will show you what I do. So now it is on to the next top. I'm going to do kind of the same stuff to it. Where'd it go? Here it is. Except I don't think the sleeves need... Yeah, the sleeves don't need to be made smaller. Just the side to side. So now I got to try this on and figure out how much I need to take in on the side. So I need to... I've got it on inside out. Find the seams here on the side. And then come in. I mean, I want some room because it's meant to be a little bit of a flowy shirt. I think that'll work. Want to be able to sit down and not, you know, and have plenty of room. Pin this about where I want it. There we go. And now I need to come back to this side. Yeah, I guess that was about right. And pin this side. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be a whole lot better. So I'm going to have to sew up and then kind of come out like this so that I don't reduce my armholes. So yeah, I'm going to take this off and measure and see how much of this needs to be removed. And then it's pretty much the same process as what I did for the last one. I apologize, the last one I didn't try on ahead of time so you guys could see how big it was on me. It was similar to this, not quite as big. But yeah, I love this top. It's got kind of a 70s vibe, but I can't wear it when it's this baggy on me. So let's get the measurements, see how much I need to take off, and get back to the sewing machine. Okay, so got it laid out inside out. There's my side seam right here. And then right there's my pin. Excuse me. So I'm going to measure from the side seam to the pin to get an idea of how much to take off of this side, and then I'll measure the other side and see if it's a similar measurement and kind of figure out from there. So that's about 4.5 inches. So let me go to the other side. So that's a little gathered right there. Because of how I had to do the pin. I know this is going to throw things off a little bit, but that's about right where it was. Okay. I dropped my measuring tape. Here we go. So this one is about 4.5. Okay, so 4.5 inches off of each side. I will straighten up my shirt so that it is not wrinkled or bunched up or anything, and then I'll measure 4.5 inches in. And then, like I said, I'm going to have to curve this way so that I'm not cutting into this armhole at all and making that any smaller, because I don't need that any smaller. It's just the sides. Okay, so I will go ahead and get that measured out and we'll go from there. I wanted to show this to you guys. This is the original seams on this top. I decided to bring it over to the ironing board and iron it because it is pretty wrinkly. But see, they've got like a straight stitch right here, and then they end it with a serger, or overlock, whatever you want to call it. So the regular manufacturer is doing the same thing that the way I'm sewing it. So it makes me feel good about that. So I'm going to go ahead and iron this, get some of these wrinkles out, and then I'll do my measurements 4.5 inches in on both sides, and then I'll take you back to the machine on that one. Alright, so I took it to the ironing board and I ironed it, and then I did the measurements 4.5 inches from the side. And then I took my French curve tool, and I should have probably showed you guys this, but since I didn't want to cut into the armpit really, and I noticed I probably need to go a little higher, I drew the curve right there. So I don't know if that's going to mess up. No, it shouldn't mess up how much I want to take it in. It'll work out. I have faith. It'll work out. But yeah, I should have brought that line right up to there, because if I leave it where it's at, well, that might be alright. But anyway, I drew that on both sides, as you can see. There's the line right there. So I will go ahead and do the straight stitch on my sewing machine, and then I'll try it on and we'll see how it looks. One other thing. This shirt is 100% rayon, so it's really, really thin. So I'm going to switch my needle out for a smaller needle that is best suited for thin material like this or chiffon or anything like that. So I'm going to go, I think this is 100 or an 80, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go drop down to a 60 so it doesn't make big holes. I should have done that for the striped shirt that I did a minute ago, but I didn't. So let me switch out my needles real quick. So I'm starting up at the armpit area, and I'm actually moving just a hair above where my line was drawn, because like I said, I don't want to take anything off of that. So I'm starting where their seam starts, and I want to make sure that my sleeve seams are matching up so I'm not grabbing that other side of that sleeve by accident. Okay, so we'll just follow just on the outside of my line just a little bit until it runs into it down here. Oh. And I did switch to a smaller needle. Sewing on a curve is not always the easiest thing, but it'll be all right. This machine is probably at least 25 years old. I got it at Sears, gosh, when I was in my early 20s. Well, I had this one, so it's over 25 years old. I don't remember exactly when I bought it, but it's more than 25 years old. See, I noticed when I was marking that I had a open seam, which would have needed fixed anyway if I was going to sell this as is. So I'm just gonna bring this in to fit me better, and that'll be taken care of because it's on the part I'm gonna cut off. Okay, so it fits pretty good. It's better than what it was, but it's still got too much room in it for me. I still want it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to curve that in just a little more, probably a couple inches, or probably a couple inches on either side. But I'm going to eyeball it. I'm not going to actually measure it this time. So we'll see how it turns out. I've got to show you guys this. My bobbin thread ran out right at the very end. You see that? That's where my stitch ended. And that's where the bobbin thread ran out. There's like maybe an inch of thread left. So I've got to refill a bobbin unless I have another white one sitting in there, and then I can continue on. Okay, so I decided to come in where the mirror is instead of just looking in the camera. But as you can see, it is not nearly as big on me now. I think I like this. I actually went in and made an adjustment twice to get to this point. So yeah, I think I will go ahead and, like I showed you on the last one, I'm just going to cut off the excess material, then run it through the serger, and then this project is done as well. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys with one last thing. This top, it looks blue on here, but it's actually teal. I can't stand the sleeves, and it also is too wide for me. So I'm either going to make it to a kimono style, or I'm just going to take in the sides, cut off the sleeves, and make new sleeves. But I have two scarves that I could use, and I asked for opinions on Facebook and Instagram, and I only got 2 responses. One said red. Okay. And the other one said white. So I had no majority. So either one would look fine. This is much more bold. This is much more subtle. This one I have more material of, so this one may win out anyway. But I want you to tell me in your comments below which one you would use, or I should use, to make new sleeves. The red one or the white one. Because I've got 2 new shirts, well, new to me now, kind of shirts that are adjusted that I can wear, that are not just t-shirts. So I need a 3rd fancy schmancy shirt, but I want to know your opinion. Should I go with the bold red, or should I go with the white? So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Maybe you had a good laugh. So anyway, I will see you on the next Redeemed Treasures refashion.